Thanks for the support as a channel member, John Howell. Well, after the heroics of yesterday's episode, we now go into a season review and transfer special without having any idea how much money we've got to spend. So at the moment, I have no idea what kind of summer we're going to have, which I guess makes things all the more fun. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 21 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, all we've got on the fixture list is a load of World Cup qualifiers. Don't worry, I'm not showing you England stuff. We'll get that. When we get to the World Cup, I'll show you some England stuff at the end of this coming season. But today is all about the season review and transfer special of the epic Great Escape that we've just been through with Barnsley. There's your confirmation of how the season ended. A 14th place finish is the highest finish in the history of this football club, yet inexplicably Kev's still not on favoured personnel. What do I have to do? But we also don't know how much money we're going to have to spend, so we could be about to have a spectacular summer. We made a lot of, money wise we're doing all right. We made a profit of 60 million pounds over the course of this season, and we've got 54 million pounds in the bank. You would think there should be some money coming my way, but we shall wait and see, hopefully fairly early on in this video, what the budgets are actually going to be. But first, we have all of the season review stuff, and I don't think anybody can argue with possibly the most comprehensive player of the season result I've ever seen, with 76% of the vote. Alex Mowat, at age 30, I think we can all agree he's probably not a Premier League player. There you go. Good player for most Championship teams. Not even considered the best midfielder at the club, according to Star Rating. But that season, for a first season in the Premier League, at his age, after the amount of time he's been at this football club, to turn up in the Premier League and do that was absolutely ridiculous, and he 100% deserves the Player of the Year award. Williams, right-sided Williams, finishing second with 10% of the vote, and the fact that Chong has finished third says it all, because his rating of 6.96 really reflects just how painfully inconsistent he is. He's managed to get himself 9 Premier League goals, and if you just looked at those stats, that looks quite good, but then you get the whole story when you see the average rating and you realise that, my word, we could do with some more Mowats. If we had a team of Alex Mowats, we'd be a Champions League club. Goal of the season goes to Fraser Hornby. Let's have a little look at this one. I don't think this is one that you saw in a video before. This is when I was experimenting with playing Hornby out on the left wing, as you can see, which I don't think you ever saw in a video. I think they were experiments that I was doing between videos. But there's Rinomota on the edge of the area, and what a goal from Fraser Hornby. Never seen him score anything like that before or since. I don't even remember that goal. I think I might have, sometimes when I'm playing the in-betweeny bits late at night, I might fall asleep. I think I missed that goal. That was quite interesting. Signing of the season, Sam Surridge, which I guess in context, he did score some important goals and gave us that extra option as a striker that we needed. But again, I think that is indicative of the kind of transfers that we were able to do, because he's not a great signing. He's not going to ever be a regular starter for us. And we did sign a lot of players. Flop of the season definitely has to go to Occo Flex. But I probably would have said Brandon Williams as signing of the season. Or Tillman ahead of Surridge, but I guess the game feels Surridge has made a bigger impact, and Brandon Williams does win Young Player of the Year, even though he's 24, for coming in and doing his first season in the Premier League, and also looking really rather splendid. He is another one, just like Hilson, on the verge of the England squad. I hear the England manager rates him. So this is our team of the year. We've got Hilson in goal, a back four of Williams, Stevens, Tanganga and Tuther Williams, McGeehan and Mowat in midfield. They've never played together, but they're always in team of the year together. Occo Flex, Tillman and Chong as our attacking midfield three, behind Hornby up front. Again, the lack of Brown in there shows just how much of a purple patch he had when he first got into the team, and then he just fell off a cliff from like Christmas onwards. He had an absolutely lightning on fire 7 or 8 matches, And then there was nothing from him for the rest of the season, to the point where Occo Flex has made it into the team of the year ahead of him, which really does say an awful lot. Top scorer, Fraser Hornby on 10 goals. Moet, top average rating, 7.2, and most assists with 7. Brivio, best pass completion, despite being injured for certainly most of the second half of the season and not really getting a look in, but obviously when he played, he was actually passing quite well. Moet and Chong both with 4 Man of the Match awards. Most yellow cards, Williams with 19 yellow cards. That's probably something we need to work on. He never got sent off. Hornby, Renomata and Occo Flex all picking up 1 red card each to complete the Naughty Boys Club. If we have a look at the season review, obviously we hugely overachieved. We were supposed to finish rock bottom. We finished rock 14th, which I think is a thing that people say. The cups were not good. We certainly underperformed in both of them. If we have a look at the club vision, obviously the board is this season, they've already set over to next season's stuff, so we can't see. That feels a little bit harsh when you're doing a season review. I'd like to be able to review the season, but apparently we can't on there. And we don't need to worry about the team of 2019, other than the fact they had another Williams. How many Williamses does one club need to have in a 4 or 5 year period? So this is the new club vision stuff. They seem like they've added an awful lot in here. There's a lot going on. Go to negotiate. Which of these are you telling me none of those are new? So don't sign anyone over the age of 28. Sign players and play entertaining football, but also defensive football. Club's youth system, well, you need to start giving me some decent youth players for me to be able to do that. I kind of want to take that one out. Possession football, high tempo pressing football. So I mean, doing all 4 of them together is not the simplest thing you could ever attempt to do. The 5-year plan is work within wage budget, sign players for a profit, which we have been doing. 2-year contracts for first team players, which is fine. And then the expectation for 5 years is they just want a 5-year long relegation battle. They're not looking for anything more ambitious than that. Even next year, the goal is fight bravely against relegation again, which I suspect means we could get relegated next year and I still won't be fired. I feel like I might have a bit of a job for life situation here at Barnsley. They've put the youth system thing back in, which we're not going to argue with too much because we don't want to rock the boat massively. If we do go into the dev centre, which I can never remember where it is, there it is. We did get a good young player come through, I think. Can we not see the youth candidates anymore? Why does everything reset too early? Obviously, a lot of these aren't actually youth players, but there was one. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I dreamt it. Well, there's no one there screaming at me as a youth development prospect. I mean, he's the first team candidate, is he? Nick Clark, who is a centre-back who we signed on a free transfer. He's been out on loan to Bradford. So, I mean, maybe, but that's not going to count as developing for our youth system, presumably. Or will it? Now considered to be an EFL League One level player. Well, he's not a first team candidate, is he? We're a Premier League team, you idiot. Dynamics-wise, McGee and Moet and Beer are our team leaders. I think Beer probably moves on this summer. I struggle to see how he fits into this team now. Especially, what we don't want is a team leader who can't get in the team because it can lead to problems. Discuss plans for next year. In light of what the board have said, I guess we just need to talk about survival again. Looking ahead to next season, I'm optimistic. No, we can't avoid the fight. The season's over. I want every single one of you in good condition because we're going to be in for a hard battle against relegation next year. I think that is fine, and that they're all on board with that. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of budgets we get to see if we're able to start bringing in the calibre of players that can stop us being a relegation team. But I know the comment section often suggests signing promising youngsters from abroad. It's just not an option because of the Brexit that we got in game. The work permit system we've got this year is so restrictive that we can only sign young players from Britain. So we're doing that. And the only foreign players we can sign are really expensive established internationals that we either can't afford or don't want to come to us. So as you saw from where we were bringing players in from last summer, it was largely Premier League youth player rejects and players who were coming out of the Championship and League One even. Maggior had been playing in League One. And I think that's kind of going to have to be how summer works again. unless we've got an extraordinary amount of money and can go out and start spending. I think the work permit cut-off thing is if you spend over £12 million on a player, then they usually get through on appeal. But it has to be a super special player for us to spend £12 million if we've only got a budget of, say, 25, 30 million. And as we saw with Occo Flex, you can spend that kind of money and they then flop. And then that's a big deal for Barnsley, where it's perhaps not a big deal for Man United or Chelsea or whoever else might spend that kind of money on a player. So I think we're kind of forced into a focus on young English players, which is quite handy that I'm the England manager. So you can guarantee we're going to be having a good look through the England under-21 side. In fact, we can do that now. It's not something I normally do in Non-League to Legend, but I feel like realism-wise, as England manager, I'm going to be familiar with this under-21 team. I've even got potential abilities and things already set up for them because I'm England manager, so I don't even have to go and scout them. They're pre-scouted. The game is saying I've got this knowledge, so I think within my own restrictive rules I'm allowed to do this year. So I might have to have a look at some of these, but even these are going to be super expensive presumably. But I think this might be the sort of route to slow but sure progress for Barnsley. If we can bring in 2 or 3 England under-21s every summer for the next 3 or 4 years, and then either sell them on for big money a year or two later, or have them establish themselves as solid Premier League players for us, it's slowly but surely going to drag us up the Premier League the right way. But I don't think we have the normal Football Manager shortcut of signing a load of Eastern European, Scandinavian youngsters and having them become superstars instantly. It's just, we can't do it in this save, which is very sad. And all it took is one more continue and we get our budgets through, and that is a significant increase in wage budget. I think we had 800,000 a week as our wage budget last year, so that goes up to 1.1 million plus a £49 million transfer budget. We have got the money there to make some serious moves this summer if we can find the right players. Let's just have a look to see what sort of thing we've already got on our scouted list. But I suggest there's not going to be any. I mean, there you go. We could sign a player for 51 million quid and just spend the whole lot in one go. But looking at the real top talent up here, we can't sign anyone over the age of 28. That's one of our rules. So we have to put that in straight away. They can't be older than 28. And the preference is under 23. But then you look at someone like him. Well, he's Argentinian and he's not going to cost over 12 million, so that rules him out immediately. You then start looking at English players and they're automatically more expensive. So theoretically, the best available player is Raheem Harper, who's a central midfielder, 25 years old, from Stoke, who is, I mean, he would come in as our best central midfielder looking at this, but he's going to cost a lot of money, and he's played one Premier League game in his life. This is what we're going to be dealing with. It's going to be slow progress here at Barnsley. £15 million for a 25-year-old who's never played in the Premier League seems like absolute insanity. It's going to be a long summer. For goodness sake. Look what I've just found. In the England under-21 side, an actual wild Wolves supporting Dave Azzopardi. Nobody tell him. Although 14 stone 9 pounds. He's put on a bit of weight, as old Dave, it seems. As promised, James Hilson has made his England debut. I don't know that he's going to be back. The media mocked me for putting him in the squad. Jordan Pickford is injured and he's the only really established England goalkeeper. There's just a lot of youngsters behind him. But of course, Hilson did one of these things that he does every 20 matches or so when he proves that he's still not a sweeper keeper. And that might be how James Hilson is remembered as an England goalkeeper. He'll probably get another opportunity, but yeah, we did quite well against Gibraltar, by the way, for those of you keeping up with England. I haven't got much channel member player news because we haven't had many that have been any good. However, one did come through the most recent transfer update. Young Marius Hegley, who's a 17-year-old Latvian, 4.5-star potential, so he might actually be the first one that ends up being any good. He's a central midfielder and he's just made his debut for Latvia, age 17. So yeah, we finally have a channel member player who's doing things. This is good. If you want your name in the game, hit the join button next to the subscribe button down below. You can find out how you can do it on there. We have our first signing of the summer complete, and he is the first of a number of Premier League bargains we're trying to pick up. I'm basically hovering around any young players who are on transfer lists at their current clubs, just to try and not unsettle them. They're already unsettled. They're on the transfer list, just to try and pick up some bargains that we can potentially sell on for profit. Jack Scott, I think, definitely fits that mould. He's been at Wolves the last couple of years, never got anywhere near their team. He's been out on loans and never got anywhere near those teams. But if we compare him to the right backs we've currently got at the club, he's right up there with Williams, Livramento. There's been offers for Williams already this summer, so we might not be able to keep hold of Jordan Williams this summer. And if we can't, I think Jack Scott can come in and be a perfectly adequate replacement for him. To pick him up for £400,000, I think that has sell him on at a big profit even if he doesn't play written all over it. And there you go, there's another offer for Williams that's just come in. We're not going to sell him for 13 million quid, but especially to teams down in the... Oh no, they are a Premier League team. I thought they were down in the Championship, but still they need to offer a lot more money than that. But we might not be able to keep hold of him. I'm thinking £25 million. If someone wants to offer that, then he's probably going to go. Signing number 2, this one was all my youth development guy. Not my signing, not very good. He might be one that we can sell on for a profit. Brad Jennings, young striker, been at Inter. He was out of contract, so he's come into us. If we can sell him on at some point, I guess it becomes good business, but I don't see him ever being good enough to play for us. Potential Championship striker in the future, I guess. Barnsley being Barnsley, signing players who'll one day be good Championship players is probably still sensible business, because we probably do expect to end up back there fairly soon. So I can understand the business. I just don't think we're ever going to see Brad Jennings play. Remember when I said we can't pick up Eastern European bargains? That all changes when they're playing regularly for Bosnia. Max Skuk, already played 19 times for Bosnia, age 21. He's a 4-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, 6 foot tall, complete forward. He's like my dream. So many clubs wanted him as well. He's been banging goals in the first division in France for the last couple of years. We've managed to pick him up for £3.3 million. He is the best striker at the club by quite a long way. He's going to get better. I genuinely don't understand how we've managed to get him. He is a genuine Premier League level player. There were 21 clubs in for him. Nobody made offers when we did, though. Yes, we're paying him a lot of money, but he's signed for £3 million, immediately gone up to £15 million worth of value. That is the kind of signing I want to be able to make more of. And it's the first one in this entire series so far that has actually come off. I was convinced he was going to go somewhere else. But I think because we're acting so early, we're before the 1st of July, we've managed to pick him up before everyone else properly notices him. And I'm very excited. The new signings continue to roll in. A new record signing as well for a few minutes, because he's an even bigger signing. We'll get to him in a second. But Stuart Denton's in for £12.5 million. Stuart Denton is a proper left winger, an actual winger on the left-hand side, not an inside forward. Can play on the left-hand side of midfield. He's one of these that we've picked up out of the England under-21s. That's definitely going to be a theme for us, with us not being able to sign too many of these foreign players. But he comes in as our best left winger. Better than Occo Flex, better than Tillman, and although not quite a Premier League player yet, should become one, has lots of potential. Did play a full season for West Brom in the Premier League last year, but they got relegated, so we get to pick him up on the cheap. I think his value's bumped up a little bit, but I think that's exactly the kind of player we need. Young, English, lots of potential. We'll just ask Williams to welcome him to the club, because then we've got another one coming in as well. Andy Stockbridge. We'll just roll that over so it actually confirms the sign-in, and we can have a little proper look at him as well. So this is Andy Stockbridge, who is another exactly the same thing. Young England youth international, under 20 international this time, 21 years old, 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. He's a proper central midfield player. He comes in as the best central midfield player at the club, and again going to become a very good Premier League central midfield player in the future. He's only played 7 Premier League games in his life, because he got relegated with Stoke and never came back up. Came through the youth system at Hadjuk, which is a bit of an odd one. Was he born there? He's not got a Croatian name for some reason. I mean, he's actually is he eligible to play for Croatia? Has he got joint nationality? No. What a strange one. But Stoke picked him up. He's played for Stoke for a few years in the Championship, and he now joins us. And another young English player. We're getting through our money. We've only got 20 million left. There's still potential to bring in a few more players. Once we get to the 1st of July, we'll do a proper review of the squad and see what we've actually got. Maybe move some players on, see if we can pick up some free transfers. But for early business this summer, I am absolutely delighted with certainly Scuck, Denton and Stockbridge. I think Scott's going to end up being a very good signing as well. We've done some very good business very early on this summer, and it pleases me. Head of youth development at it again. Another youngster's brought in, Kenny Phillips. Another one from Wolves, actually. Only 3-star potential, but again, he's not cost us anything. And if he ends up being sold on at any point, then it's a bit of a bonus. He's got the potential to be a championship defender in the future. So let's get him in. We have broken our transfer record for the 3rd time this summer on another young English player, Richard Gudger, one of the stars of England's under-20 World Cup runners-up run this summer. He can play in central midfield. He can play in attacking midfield. He's a 3.5-star current ability player, makes him the best we've got in either of those positions and has the potential to get better. Already a Premier League quality player with bags of potential. Another one who's coming from Stoke. I don't know how Stoke have not ran away with that league. They're still down in the Championship, despite having 2 very good players we've taken from them. 10 goals from midfield for them last year down in the Championship, and he makes his way into what is now a very talented young English midfield that we've got. I need to start working out how to assemble these players into a team. There's got to be some players move, as in leave now. We've got not a huge amount of money left. We've not got any wage budget left. We need to do a thorough review of this squad when we get all of our loans back and work out who we can bin off and maybe find some money to bring in 1 or 2 more. So we have made it through. Oh, in fact, it's not the 1st of July. I thought it was the 1st of July. I'll be back. Right, this time it actually is the 1st of July, so little confirmation of transfers so far. Already spent £53 million. We should be done, but I think there's going to be room to move some players on. If we have a look at the squad depth to see what we've got in each position, starting with striker, we don't need Scuck, Hornby, Brivio, Okoflex and Surridge all as strikers. I think we can probably move 2 of those on. Okoflex probably gets to stick around because of his flexibility. Brivio has got the potential. It suggests Surridge probably needs to move on, even though he got signing of the season last year, but I just don't see him getting anywhere near the team now. So he came in, he did a job, but I think Surridge probably can go on the transfer list at this point. I don't think we need him anymore. And then if we're going to do that similar job going through all these positions. So left wing, we've got Tillman, who's not really going to play there. Okoflex, I guess, and Denton are the 2 that we've got on this side. There's not really anyone behind them who necessarily needs to move on. On the right-hand side, we have Chong. I'm kind of counting off Okoflex as cover for all positions. So we've got Chong and Brown over here, and then lots of others behind them. But attacking midfield, we've got a lot of players. We've got Gudger, who's just come in, Tillman, who played there all last year, and Barlow, who is again a good utility man. So anyone past Barlow, I think they're probably done. Beera and Slattery definitely falling into that category. So I think we can offer both Beera and Slattery out, because I don't see that there's a space in the squad for them anymore. I think they're also both out of contract in the summer coming up as well, so there's no point letting them leave for free. We may as well try and get a little bit of money for them by moving them on now. If we go back into central midfield, I think we're probably going to have the similar situation with McGeehan, but we only really need 4 here. So Stockbridge is 1, Gudger plays further forward, Mowat, Maggiore, and then we've got McGeehan, Rinomota, Clarkson, Traore. There's a few who can move on here, I think. McGeehan, as he's 30 and out of contract, I think the time has come for McGeehan to move on, especially if we can get a decent fee for him. So McGeehan can definitely go on that transfer list. And then beyond him, I don't think we need Clarkson and Traore. So I think we probably make a decision about which one of those we move on. Traore is probably more useful because he's a box-to-box midfielder. Clarkson, £12 million value, did play a lot of games for us last season and didn't really impress. Traore didn't really get a look in, and I guess he's older. I think we move Traore on and keep Clarkson for 1 more year, especially because Traore is actually wanted. So let's offer him out. He's a player who we brought in when we were down in the Championship because he would have been a good squad player by now in the Championship, but I think we've just moved on quicker than he can keep up with us. So it's time for him to move on. Similar situation with Ekwa Olimbi, who I forgot existed, but he is just not going to be good enough to play for us. So we need to move Ekwa Olimbi on as well. Is there anyone else in that midfield who's never going to get anywhere near the team? You're all screaming for me to get rid of Rinomata. Ain't going to happen. Right, if we go a bit further back, I think we've probably got less strength in depth defensively. We've got the two Williamses as our two starting centre-backs, right full-backs, Tanganga and Stevens. Fry, who is now back, but got in a sulk last year. So Fry we might need to move on just because he doesn't want to be here. Or he might have changed his mind now. I think he'd be a useful player to have around. And then Diaby as our 4. I think we could probably do with bringing another centre-back in, especially if we lose Fry. But for now, we're probably good there. Williams, Brown. We don't need Williams, Livramento and Scott. But we might be losing Williams this summer, so we'll keep them all around for now. And then in goal, Hilson and Woodman. We're good. So there's a few players there we can move on. As ever, on the 1st of July, we'll also see what there is in the way of free transfers, players out of contract that we can bring in on trial. But with the restriction of not bringing in anyone over the age of 28, it is a little bit harder to do that. And then we'll see where we are in a week or so's time. Well, this is the first time since I've been here at Barnsley that the board have done something dumb, seemingly. Sam Surridge, who we signed for £3 million, he did a job, and we got an immediate offer for £3 million from Deportivo. The board want to cancel it because they think we can get more. I don't think we can get more money for him. A deal amounting to 3.9 million, the absolute minimum we could afford, but we're getting our money back for him 6 months later. This is madness. Reconsider. Yeah, they agree with me. Excellent. I've never seen that happen before, but that was quite cool. I obviously am underselling him. But, you know, what can we do? We've brought in a couple of youngsters on trial. Neither of them seem any good. So I don't think we need to... We're not bringing in any free transfers by the looks of it. We're just waiting for players to leave now, see how much money we end up with, both in terms of... transfer budget and wage budget once this bunch of players leave, because we've had offers in for most of them. Hold on, if we go to players out, all of the ones that we just tried to get rid of, we've had offers for. So it'll just be interesting to see whether or not they go and how much money we end up with afterwards. So that's positive. And then we've also offered trials to all of the players who come out on that media thing saying clubs in England release players. Someone like this, unless he's an absolute 5-star superstar, we can't justify bringing in a 30-year-old, certainly one who's never played in the Premier League. But we'll give him a trial. You never know. He might. No, he's rubbish, as you would expect. So there's going to be quite a few of these coming through as well. But I don't expect to bring anyone else in until we've confirmed who's leaving. We'll just keep bringing these trialists in. And they're all gone. Traore went to Millwall for 1.3 million, McGeehan to Burnley for 2.5 million, Beera to Standard for 5.75 million, Ekwa Olimbi, West Brom 2.3 million, and Slattery to Basel for 4.6 million. So £19.5 million when you include Surridge as well, who did go to Deportivo. I don't know that I'd showed you that before. But £19.5 million in. We have spent a little bit more. Josh Pring is another youngster, 18-year-old English striker, only 1.5-star current ability, but 4.5-star potential. This is another one from my youth development guy, which is why I let him have free reign to sign youth players, because you've seen he signs several duds, but every now and again he brings in someone who's a potential Premier League striker for not very much money. He comes in from Bradford, and we'll keep an eye on him over the next few years. If he ends up being any good, that is an excellent little piece of business. All of which means we've now got £14 million and a good couple of £100,000 a week of wage budget to spend again. So the player search begins again. Looking at the balance of the squad now, I think we're very good. It's kind of reversed from where we were. We're set for strikers. I think Scuck, Hornby, Brivio, Okoflex. But bearing in mind we're a one-striker system, we've got 4 decent options there. Attacking midfield as a 3. They can all kind of play in each other's positions, but we've got Tillman, Okoflex, Denton, Chong, Gudja, Barlow, Brown. There's a lot of players who can play in those 3 positions. Central midfield, again, we're sorted. Stockbridge, Gudja can play there, but probably won't. But Stockbridge, Maggiore, Rinomata. I'll get his name right one day. Monday. We've still got Clarkson knocking around the place as well, who we probably don't need, but it's nice to have just an extra sort of backup player. But I think it's pretty clear this is the area we need some more players in. We've still got Williams at the moment. If we keep him, I'm happy with right back. We've got some decent right backs. We've only really got Williams as a left back now. Brown's probably going out on a season-long loan. There's been a good offer for him coming from, I think, Hull. So we need another left back, and we probably need another centre back. Fry's still not happy at the club. Diaby's probably not good enough. We ideally need one of each of these, and maybe a third goalkeeper as well. So we're back to the shopping list. Quick little one in, one out, and I think we've got a player who meets both criteria. Jonathan Panzo, who I've signed him before. I forget in which save. He is someone I'm familiar with, but he is a centre-back, but also a natural wing-back at left-back as well, so he can play in either of those positions that we needed covering. 24 years old, English, so another young English player. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. You can see how he weighs up with the rest of the squad. He'd be a backup to Williams at left back and potentially a starter alongside Tanganga at centre backs. Another one who's just a good championship player, but will end up becoming a good Premier League player. He's been playing at Crystal Palace for the last few years, who got relegated. He's another one where we've raided relegated teams. £18.75 million. Yes, it's a lot of money, but we had a lot of money. We've still got a decent amount of money. We might still be able to bring in one or two more, but I think the squad is pretty well balanced now. Brown has gone out on loan to Hull, so that's confirmed. I am now thinking in terms of potentially letting Fry leave, because he's not. There is a very low plane going over the top of my garage at the moment. That's ridiculous. I don't know if you can hear it. It sounds like it's basically landing on my roof. But I am wondering with Fry, because he's a grumpy boy, he's got concerns with how I've treated him. Well, I've got concerns with you not being very good at football. So I think we're probably going to move him on and keep Diaby around as the fourth choice, because that would be the other thing, move Diaby on. But I think Diaby's been with us a long, long time. I know he didn't play much last year, but he's still happy to be here, just sat on our bench, whereas Fry isn't. So let's offer him out, stick him on the transfer list. Now we've got Panzo in, and it might free up a little bit more to do a little bit more. As if one left back / centre back wasn't enough, we now have a second left back / centre back, Kik Pierre, Dutch international, one cap, but that still counts. Can play just as easily at centre back or left back, similar to Panzo, probably a little bit better at him than him at both. He's on loan until the end of the season from Everton. 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. So we now are well covered for left back with Williams as a starter, and then 2 centre backs who can go over there and adequately cover for him if need be. And then at centre back with Tanganga, we've got Pierre and Panzo, both competing with Stevens. I think we can probably let Diaby go now. I also don't need to sign the other left back I was looking at, also from Everton, which was Jay Da Silva. I was just going to look to bring him in as some cover, but we can cancel that deal now. We don't need all those left backs, but we can assign a squad number to him. We can get him into our squad. Let's just redo the whole squad for now, just because it's easier. And then how are we doing for money? £9 million left to spend. Still loads of wage budget as well. We're not going to spend up again this summer, I don't think, because I think this squad is done. I'm tempted to I'm not going to transfer this Diaby. I think that's unfair. I think the one thing I'd like is another goalkeeper. So we've got what? How long? A week? 2 weeks of transfer window left. Let's see if we can find a goalkeeper for less than £10 million. The other thing I probably should have mentioned, of course, is we did sell Fry as well as part of that. So Fry went to PSV for £2 million. We took a little bit of a loss on him, although I guess you count the loan fee that we got there as well. It's not been a huge loss. He was a bit of a gamble. It didn't really work out. I think we've upgraded massively in that area, and we also sold young Nick Clark, who was the youngster we identified at the start of the summer as the one who was never going to be good enough for us. Now he can go and never be good enough for Newcastle. And I think that's everything for now. Aziz is still knocking around. So 21.5 million in, 73 million out. It's been the busiest summer. Not necessarily the busiest summer ever for Barnsley, but the most money summer ever for Barnsley. There's still lots of money in the bank, though. So we're doing all right. I think based on what we've done, though, we do have to start to establish ourselves as a Premier League team. As you can see, we are still predicted to finish rock bottom, despite the fact that there's all these newly promoted clubs that are apparently better than us. So our transfers aren't impressing anybody at the moment, it seems. Back to the drawing board then. And we have made it through to the end of the transfer window. And as you can see, some more absolutely insanely expensive transfers going through in the Premier League. Liverpool spending £246 million. But we were most active with 11 new signings. And there have been a couple more, I think, since you last saw what was going on. So firstly, a couple of outs. Dom Irving, who was one of our up-and-coming youngsters. We brought him in on the free transfer from Liverpool last summer. He had a successful loan spell with Bromley, but wanted more than we were able to offer him game time wise, and Crystal Palace came in and offered money. So again, bringing players in, selling them on for a profit. It's one of those club vision goals. Brian Laird is someone who came through our youth team and was never going to be good enough to play for us, so he's gone to Cardiff. And then we've brought in a couple more players. Firstly, I don't think you saw Paul Payne, who's another one of these youngsters that my youth development guy brought in, who's not going to be good enough. But Jamie Snedden he's just a goalkeeper who was available for free. He's our third choice keeper. We needed one for the squad. Now we have one. He's never in a million years going to be good enough to play, but at least he exists in the squad now. It fills a gap in the squad. This guy, I think, is going to end up being a very good signing. Adam Bood is an England under-19 international who we got from West Brom for just £71,000. He's already, you can't see because we've already sent him out on loan to MK Dons, but he's already as good as Rinomhota at age 19, apparently, which did lead me to try and sell Rinomhota, but nobody wanted him. So I took him off the transfer list again. And then lastly, just a little bit of we had a bit of money left to spend. Why not take a gamble? It's that kind of signing. Kanya Leshabela is a 25-year-old South African international. He's a right winger, 3-star current ability, potential to get a little bit better. He might get lots of game time and be awesome. He might end up not being any good. He was just a little cheap gamble. And sometimes it's fun to have a little cheap gamble. So we brought him in as well. So finance-wise, we've still got money left in all aspects of the club, and this is what our team report looks like. And I think our squad has undergone a massive upgrade. The one worry I've got is if you look at the best players in each of these positions, there's new names and new faces in all of these positions. So dynamics wise, we're potentially going to struggle a little bit, although team cohesion already showing as good, which is awesome. I didn't expect that at all. I haven't actually looked at that all summer, but I think that goes down as a very successful summer. It's definitely the summer we needed to have, and I think we are in a much stronger position now to not be sucked into a relegation battle. Fingers crossed. Although it's not an easy start to the season because we've got Liverpool coming up in the next episode. So we'll see how we get on against them. If you've enjoyed this transfer special, though, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.